So we are reading from the Transcendental Diary by Harisauri Prabhu. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityananda Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Destarine. We are in Sri Vrindavan Dham, surveying the crowd, many of whom had travelled thousands of miles to come and live in Vrindavan. He gave clear definition to their purpose for being here. You cannot sit idly to show your gorgeousness in a secluded place, imitating Haridas Thakur, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. No, you have to preach. That is the order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Amara Agyaya Guru Haya Tara Desh. That is really following Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's order. Not to imitate Haridas Thakur. Even you do that very nicely, that is for your safety. Supposing that you are doing nicely, but that is for your safety. But one who is facing dangerous position for others' benefit, they are very quickly recognized by Krishna. Nacha tasman manusyeshu kaschin me priya krittamaha ya idam paramam guhyam mad bhaktis abhidashyati. Just like fighting soldiers, they are facing danger for the country, they are recognized. Similarly, those who are preachers on behalf of Krishna, preaching to take to Krishna consciousness, they are great soldiers. Prabhupada's strong words carry the full weight of realization. He is not just an orator. He acts as well as speaks, and he infused the same sense into the hearts of his eager disciples. So I'm very happy that you Europeans and Americans especially, you are helping me. So continue this process, and that is the very easy way to be recognized by Krishna. Because he says, Nacha tasman manusyeshu kaschin me priya krittamaha. Who is preaching this Krishna consciousness? So I thank you very much that you have come here in Vrindavan and you are traveling, you are preaching. So let us dedicate this life for preaching Krishna consciousness all over the world. Never mind we die by preaching. Still it will be glorious. Thank you very much. Strengthened and at heart, their faces glowing with love for their spiritual master, the devotees cheered with appreciation as Srila Prabhupada stepped down from his seat and made his way out of the side door. Chanting his name, they followed him to the entrance to his quarters before bowing down in obeisances as he disappeared inside. So very important instruction Srila Prabhupada is giving of basically preaching. So he would give us four phrases. He gave us: books are the basis, utility is the principle, purity is the force, and preaching is the essence. So I don't know where he got this from, or he made it himself, but it really summarizes, quite nicely summarizes the mission that utility is the principle, is we use whatever we have, yukta vairagya. And then books are the basis. So books, he was very fond of books, like we all know. He gave so much importance to distributing books. I was listening yesterday, one devotee, and he was sharing that Srila Prabhupada, at one point he wanted sets of books to be distributed. Devotees were doing one-on-one. And then at one point he asked the devotees, you go and research how to do sets. And then the devotees went all over And they researched, and then they researched how they distribute these big encyclopedia, the Britannica encyclopedia, and they came back and they said, Prabhupada, I think it's impossible to do this. And he said, yeah, I know it's impossible, but I think you can do it still. So he had this, and because of his purity, because of his vision, because he wanted it, so many things happened. Otherwise the devotees could never imagine doing it. You know, Brahmananda Prabhu, he shares how Srila Prabhupada, when he was just in the first center in 26 Second Avenue, he would take the globe and he would spin the globe and he would say, Brahmananda, you go here. Gargamuni, you go here. So just 21 years old boys and girls. And but he was empowering them, everyone to preach. Somebody said, Srila Prabhupada just opened one center. Every other center was opened by his disciples. So literally, he empowered everyone to basically open all the other centers. So preaching is the essence. So that is why this movement he created is a preaching mission. We may have many institutions in the past that may have been bona fide, but if you look at the way Prabhupada created and the institution, it's for basically for preaching. You know, so whatever supports the preaching without compromising the principle, we do that. If something does not support the preaching and it should not compromise the principle, we have to let it go also. So that is the essence. We have to focus on that one. And purity is the force. So you can only give what you have, right? The example is given of a bucket of water that is on top, let's say, and the bucket of water only spills out when it's full. So someone said, preaching is like that. You have so much of Krishna inside you and it spills out, you know. You just don't want to do it yourself. You want to go and you want to help others also. So that is actually preaching. But if there is no water in the bucket, how much you want to give, it doesn't come out. So we become Krishna conscious and we give Krishna consciousness. So yeah, that is very nicely. And he said preaching he was, at least when in his last few days, when he was a little well, he actually was in Vrindavan, but he wanted to go again to the west, because he said, this will give me life. You know, so preaching gave him life. And when devotees would share the book distribution course, he would get very enthusiastic. So his life was preaching. So I mean, Lord Brahma, he attained perfection by meditating for thousands of years. But in this age, we don't have any other alternative except performing the Sankirtan Yajna and getting ourselves purified. Otherwise, if we try to just get purified by our own endeavor, by just our own tapasya, then it's practically impossible. Because the Kali Yuga is so difficult and we have so much of contamination. But by Sankirtan Yajna, by glorifying Lord Chaitanya and by doing what we can to spread the Krishna consciousness movement, then that's also how we get purified. So it's both our sadhana, also part of our sadhana, that we help others. And a devotee is naturally compassionate, like Prahlad Maharaj. He says that he prays, there is a very nice verse, Swastyastu Vishwasya Khala Prasidatam Dhayantu Bhutani Shivam Mitudiya Manascha Bhadram Bhajata Dadokshate Aveshyatam Na Matir Apya Haituki. So may there be good fortune throughout the universe. May all the people practice Krishna consciousness, and by practicing this, they can become happy. So this is the mood of the devotees, that they want to see people happy, and we try our best to be creative in our ways that we can also spread the holy names. When he was in Vrindavan, he was just lying down and he called Giriraj Swami, and he asked him, "Will my movement continue after I am gone?" And Giriraj Swami, he said, "Yes, Srila Prabhupada, if we chant our rounds and if we maintain purity, it will go on." And Srila Prabhupada, he said, "That's not enough. You have to use intelligence, and you have to have organization." So this is very important, that purity is needed, but we also have to use our intelligence and keep things organized. Otherwise, something like an institution, it's needed for missionary activities. Otherwise, traditionally, Gaudiya Vaishnavas did not have institution. They just practiced, and few people. But if we want to get to the mass, then we have to be organized, and we have to do it properly. We have to be creative, use intelligence, and we have to do it together. Otherwise, the whole world is upside down. The whole world is literally upside down. If you ask anybody walking on the street, and if you just tell them everyone will say, "I'm stressed out of my mind." Everyone will agree to it, If you just ask someone, "Are you stressed?" and they'll say, "Yeah, I'm so stressed." And one thing that they don't reveal, but if you talk to them for some time, one thing that they will also reveal is they are very lonely also. We think people have so much friends, they have 15 boyfriends in 1 year. They change and they have so many people around them. But if someone trusts you, and if you just talk to them for some time, then they will reveal that they are also very lonely. So it's not as glamorous as it looks from the outside. From the outside, we say, everyone thinks, all of us, to some extent, we think the material world is such a good place for enjoyment. But mostly people are just suffering. So a devotee understands this and tries to preach. And that is also order of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, like he says, "Amara agya guru hai atara edesh." So by his order, we become small gurus or big gurus, one devotee would say. So you just look around, you have so many people who are less fortunate than you, and whatever we can share, we try to share. We don't have to be pure, on the absolute platform of pure devotees. But whatever we have realization, if we just share that, then that will affect people's heart. Just that much. Someone even said, preaching is very easy. Just try to show people how happy you are. If you just show people how happy you are, then devotees are naturally happy because they are in contact with Krishna. Yeah, Devamrit Maharaj, who he is has many these creative concepts of urban preaching, and he shares that people, when they talk with devotees, they just realize that this is not normal interaction. But that comes to purity, like Prabhupada says, purity is the force. So if we just make an effort a little bit, then so many people actually can be saved. We just need to make a little bit of effort, just go a little extra mile. You don't have to do too much, not to stress yourself too much, but just go that extra mile, and so many people will be benefited by your Krishna consciousness. You know, because people are looking for Krishna, like George Harrison said in the Krishna book. Everyone is looking for Krishna. Some realize they are not, but actually they are. Everyone is looking for Krishna, and Krishna is love. You know, so everyone is looking for love. So I think the marathon starts tomorrow. So it's a nice meditation to see what we can do to please Lord Chaitanya and Srila Prabhupada in this regard. Yeah, we can tax our brain. Prabhupada would use the word tax your brain. You are American and European boys and girls. If you don't do something big, what is the use, you would say. So tax your brain, how we can give Krishna consciousness to others. And you can start small. We can all start small, just a little bit maybe, but we need to at least give some effort to pleasing Prabhupada by distributing books in the marathon. Okay, Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jai Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jai Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jai Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, chapter 6, text 82. Anumana pramana nahe Ishvara tattva gyane.
Anumana pramana nahe Ishvara tattva gyane.
Kripa vina Ishvara rekya nahi jane.
Kripa vina Ishvara rekya nahi jane.
Anumana pramana nahe Ishvara tattva gyane.
Anumana pramana nahe Ishvara tattva gyane.
Kripa vina Ishvara rekya nahi jane.
Kripa vina Ishvara rekya nahi jane.
Anumana pramana nahe Ishvara tattva gyane.
Anumana pramana nahe Ishvara tattva gyane.
Kripa vina Ishvara rekya nahi jane.
Kripa vina Ishvara rekya nahi jane.
Anumana pramana he Ishvara tattva gyane.
Anumana pramana nahe Ishvara tattva gyane.
Kripa vina Ishvara rekya nahi jane.
Anumana pramana nahe Ishvara tattva gyane.
Anumana pramana nahe Ishvara tattva gyane.
Kripa vina Ishvara rekya nahi jane.
Kripa vina Ishvara rekya nahi jane.
अनुमान प्रमाण नाहि ईश्वर तत्व ज्ञाने
Anumana pramana nahe Ishvara tattva gyane.
कृपा बिना
Anuman pramana. Evidence by hypothesis. Nahe. There is not. Ishvara tattva jnane. In understanding the absolute truth. The Supreme Personality of Godhead. Kripa vina. Without His mercy. Ishvarere. The Supreme Personality of Godhead. Keha. Anyone. Nahi. Not. Jane. Knows. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Gopinath Acharya continued, one can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead only by His mercy, not by guesswork or hypothesis. Purport. One cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead simply by exhibiting some mundane magic. Foolish people are enchanted by magical demonstration, and when they see a few wonderful things done by mystical power, they accept a magician as the personality of Godhead or an incarnation. This is not the way of realization. Nor should one guess or speculate about an incarnation or the personality of Godhead. One has to learn from the bona fide person or from the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself, as Arjuna did by the mercy of Krishna. Krishna Himself also gives many hints about His potencies as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One should understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead only through the evidence presented by the Shastras and the Mahajans. In any case, one must have the mercy of the Lord in order to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead by devotional service. Om Ajnana-timirandhasya Gananjana Salakaya Chaksharunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manodishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsya Tri Rupam Sardajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Shakhamitam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubheva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura-Bhakta-Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this is Gopinath Acharya speaking. So he is trying to convince his, uncle, I think, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya of who Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually is. And this is interesting sloka where he says, you cannot understand God by guesswork or hypothesis. So guesswork is anuman, evidence, yeah. So there are three types of evidences, they say. Pratyaksha praman, anuman praman, and then you have something that's given to you, sabda. So pratyaksha praman is something that you can see from your eyes, you can experience. Like for example, you can see that there is sun, let's say sunlight outside, that you can see. And then you can make a guess by saying that if there is sun here, that means the sun is up there also. So guesswork. It's called extrapolation, extrapolate. So if you have something and by using that, you can come to a conclusion of something. Like we can give example, like most of the scientists, that's how they come to some kind of understanding. Let's say they study something small. Let's say they take a drop of water from the ocean and then they study what the drop of water is like, and then they conclude that all the ocean is like this. So that's, they can't study the whole ocean, but then they take a small thing out of it and then they extrapolate. They make a hypothesis saying that okay, the whole thing should also be like this. So normally we are very accustomed to either pratyaksha praman or anuman praman, and we think this is the only proof to understanding reality. When you talk with an atheist, what is the most common thing they say is, I don't believe in God because I cannot see God. So they focus on pratyaksha praman. If they are able to see, then they believe it, otherwise no. But we can ask the question, what is the proof that pratyaksha praman is the only proof? There is other ways of understanding reality also, right? And from Prabhupada's books we understand that there is something called sabda praman. Something that you cannot understand with your senses is revealed to you through words from the scripture. And we actually put faith in so many things, even in our daily life. Srila Prabhupada, he would give example of, if you want to know who your father is, you should ask your mother. Right? You can't go around the world asking people, are you my father? Are you my father? So the easy way to do it is you go to your mother and then you ask your mother, so who is my father? And the mother tells you, this is your father. So similarly, if we want to understand the absolute truth, we can try for some time. We can make some pratyaksha praman and we can try to do some guesswork, but how far can we reach? There is a limit to how much our senses can go. And at one point we have to give up. We have to say, okay, I am not able to understand the absolute truth just by my limited sense perception. Right? Our senses are limited. We have learned this already, that even with our eyes we cannot see everything. We cannot see that there is a tiny living entity here. only with the help of a microscope we can see. So we need even physical device to see what is in front of us. And we also cannot hear everything. You know, they say you can only hear from 10 hertz to 10,000 hertz, I think. This frequency you can hear. Otherwise you cannot hear less than that, or you cannot hear something that's more than that. Right? So, but the animals, they have this ability, they can hear more than that frequency also. That's why when there is an earthquake or when there is something, they can hear and they run away faster. They can perceive before us. So animals have this ability, but we humans, our senses are limited. And then you talk about the skin. Sometimes in breakfast, if we have something sweet, and if we have something less sweet after that, then the one less sweet tastes like it doesn't have any sweet. So the tongue also is deceived. The tongue is also not perfect. So our eyes are not perfect, our tongue are not perfect, our ears are not perfect, our skin. You know, sometimes when you take a cold shower and then you come out and you feel so nice because everything around you is so less than that cold shower, less temperature, and you feel like it's hot outside. You know, so the senses are totally prone to defect. So that's why we cannot depend only on Pratyaksha Praman. And Anuman Praman is, it's like it said, Anuman. Anuman means guesswork. So how can guesswork ever be perfect? It will never be perfect. And so many theories we have, it's mostly guesswork. Even Darwin's theory is guesswork. That's what he said. So, and so many of the things like all this Big Bang and the universe, it's mostly guesswork. There is some Pratyaksha Praman, and then you extrapolate, and then you have guesswork. But Gopinath Acharya here is saying you cannot understand the Supreme by guesswork or hypothesis or even direct sense perception. You can only understand Him by His mercy. And this is the importance of Bhakti Yoga. Because in other yogas like Jnana Yoga, you try to understand Krishna or the absolute truth by your endeavor. You know, you try to use your mental abilities and you try to Jnana Yoga, that's by knowledge, you try to approach the Supreme. But Krishna is only revealed through bhakti. And like in Damodar Leela, when Mother Yashoda was trying to bind Damodar, there were two fingers short always. Right? So what are these two fingers represent? Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, I think he says. Anybody? Oh.
Mercy and effort.
Effort, yeah. Mercy and effort. So we use our effort, but Krishna is not dependent on that. He is only reveals Himself by His mercy. But we have to make our effort. We have to go how much we can, and then seeing that Krishna reveals. But if He does not want, He doesn't want. You know, He is Krishna. So Sachinanda Maharaj, he would say, don't try to be an achiever, try to be a beggar. You know, when we chant, we don't try to chant and obtain Krishna by our chanting. That's like we try to achieve Krishna. But the mood should be, we should be a beggar, because we make our effort, but without Krishna giving it, we can't receive that that bhakti or that prem. So, yeah. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, one cannot understand Supreme Personality by some mundane magic. Foolish people are enchanted by magical demonstration when they see a few wonderful things done by mystical power. And they accept a magician as the personality of God. So in the Krishna book, Prabhupada writes, India is a factory house of God, manufacturing God. In every street there is a new God every day. So, but he would also say, if people want to be cheated, there will always be cheaters. If we want something cheap, then we will also find people who are selling that cheap thing. So if we want, let's say someone comes to you and says, you can achieve God by chanting this one mantra and you just give me some money. So then people want shortcut, and there are people who also, if there is a demand, there is supply. You know, in economics, they say if there is a demand, there will be a supply. So if there is demand for something, then there will be people who want to supply this also. So if we want something cheap, something cheap will always be available. But Srila Prabhupada, he taught us that it's not something cheap, right? You have to have a discipline, and you have to have somebody guiding you, like a guru. So, and just a few magicians, if they just do something interesting, and people become enamored because they want something cheap. When Radhanath Maharaj, he writes in his book Journey Home, when he was in the Himalayas and he was traveling, and he met some mystic yogis in the Himalayas, and he was at first very fascinated. They were actually above the ground and meditating, hovering, and he was thinking, oh, this is nice. And then suddenly he got this realization that even this mystic power is material. So he got this realization. So all these magical things we may see, they are still material on the mental platform, or there is some mystic siddhis. But if we see the definition of Bhagavan, then he is the one who, because of his presence, the planets are floating in the sky, the sun is shining on time, the rivers are flowing, the ocean does not. Once Srila Prabhupada was walking on the beach and then he asked, why does the ocean not cross this line? There is a line on the beach. Why does the ocean not cross this line? And he said, it's because they are fearful of Krishna. So the whole universe is working under his direction, under Krishna's, and not directly, indirectly, somehow it's all under his control. But foolish people, they are enchanted by some magical demonstration, but they don't see that the whole world is actually under the control of God. It's just like how Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, pearls are hung on the thread, but normally we don't see the thread, we just see the outside, right? But if an intelligent person understands there is a thread inside. So Krishna is like the thread. He is the thread that ties everything together. But you have to be a little intelligent to see this, the thread tying everything together. Even in our life, when we are practicing, we have to be intelligent enough to see everything that comes in our life is this thread of Krishna tying everything together. Steve Jobs, when he was giving his speech in Stanford, I think he said, he used to go to the temple to have a son. So you know Steve Jobs, he's the founder of Apple, and he in this commencement speech he also said that every Sunday he would go to the nearest Hare Krishna temple to have a Sunday feast, because he didn't have enough money during that time when he was just initially studying. And he said something interesting. He said, it's very difficult in your life to connect the dots, but it's easy to connect the dots looking back. So when he was sharing that, when he looked back in his life, he had so many struggles, but he could connect the dots looking back. But right now, the connecting the dots may be very difficult. So for devotees, we are also able to connect the dots by seeing that all this connection is actually Krishna's mercy. And the most wonderful thing is how Krishna is pervading the whole material universe. He is present in every atom, He is present in every living entity. So that's wonderful, that's God. You know, God is not something cheap who can just show some magical stuff and then He's God. So we are, by His mercy He gives Shastras, so that is how we understand Bhagavan. And the definition of Bhagavan is very clearly given, how He is full of the 6 opulences: name, fame, beauty, rich, strength, renunciation. So someone who is full in these 6 opulences is Bhagavan. So that is the definition we get from Shastras. And if someone is like this, then only we accept. And also in the scriptures, the incarnations are very nicely mentioned. Who is incarnation? Where is he born? Who is the father and mother of this incarnation? You know, what are his symptoms? That's how we accept that someone is God. We don't accept someone is God just because they show some magical powers. Yes, so one should understand the Supreme Personality of God only through the evidence presented by the Shastras and the Mahajans. In any case, one must have the mercy of the Lord in order to understand the Supreme Personality of God by devotional service. So we understand from the Shastras and the Mahajans how to approach God and how to get His mercy. We may understand who is God, we may understand who are the incarnations, but how do we please Him? How do we please Krishna? So then we follow the directions of the Acharyas, of the Mahajans. Srila Prabhupada, he gave us all the needed things on how to please Krishna, how to worship Krishna, how to dress Krishna, how to cook for Krishna, you know what Krishna likes. So that's how we please Him. And and then hopefully we get His mercy. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. According to this verse, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya could not recognize that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he could not understand also his mission, his order. I wanted just to ask, when we read diary from Prabhupada, he started from this point. Please accept this order of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And I'm thinking that maybe this is like our, we hear Shabda, we hear from Srila Prabhupada, this is order from Acharyas, and we can do our endeavors, our
Mm.
effort, and then by mercy of them and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, if he can see us, we can get this mercy. And I have one question. What does it mean to take shelter in Sankirtana movement? What is this? How we can understand this?
Taking shelter in Sankirtan. Well, the direct thing is we just get together and do Kirtan. Indra Prabhu, he focused on this quite a lot, we need to spend as much time as possible during the day to come together and perform Sankirtan. Just sit down and chant Hare Krishna. And there are other ways also, not many people will come to the temple, so then we find ways to go out and also bring people. So Srila Prabhupada, he demonstrated many ways we could do this. He would say, when he would go to Vrindavan, he would talk to the pujaris, he would say, deity worship is the most important. And when he would be talking to the book distributors, he would say, book distribution is the most important. So everything is important because everything is a part of the Sankirtan movement. It's all connected. So prasadam, holy names, books, eating, worship, keeping the temple organized. So he practically demonstrated how to do this. Taking shelter is taking shelter in any of these services, I think. We find something we can do for a long time. Also, that's maybe important, something you can keep doing and take shelter of that service. Vaisheshika Prabhu, he would say, your seva will save you. It's very important. We need to hang on to some seva that will ultimately save us. So, it's very nice. Your seva will save you. Is that? You want to add something?
Thank you.
Yeah, I wanted to say that there is no seva which is more and mostly important. Everybody should engage himself according to his nature and try to please as most of his capacity. Bhakti is not about it's not superficial thing what we are doing like externally, but it's the internal work. It doesn't matter what we do, but the thing is our intention to please, then everything what we do is will be like Sankirtan Yagya when we have this attitude. But at the same time we can say that we can do externally seva, and when we don't have this attitude it's still service, but can we call it devotional service? This is the question. Because we are used to, like in the material world, we are used to do something externally. And we can also like switch off our brain, our mind, and do like automatically things. This is the nature of the mind. After doing something long time, then he can switch off, and we don't have to use this like the brain or the mind. Same can happen also here because this is our nature, natural nature. So when we use this knowledge, how can we apply it to Bhakti? Because this should be something else, not only externally to do something.
Yeah. Would you like to share something on this, Prabhu?
There is two kinds of devotees, Goshtana and Bhajana. Like Transcendental we heard who perfectly chanting Hare Krishna, perfect chanting, only benefit for this person, Our preaching is essence. And Prabhupada gave quotation from Bhagavad Gita. Preacher is more dear for Krishna
Tachatas Manu Sheshu.
Mm.
We can very nice chanting together. Very nice.
Mm.
But order of Lord Chaitanya, Yara de Hatarika, Krishna Padesha. Yeah, most important. Go out actually, because we are not Bhajanani, we are Goshtani. All devotional service, all kinds of devotional service is important. I heard from my Guru Maharaj, book distribution is, if we distribute Prabhupada's books, this is very, how to say, the threat, the attention of Krishna. Because this was more important for Prabhupada to fulfill the desire of his and distribute this literature. Yeah. Because now two from tomorrow start Prabhupada's marathon. We can do something for this. Maybe not many hours, even something. Even one small book, I heard from very much. This is also important. We should not glorify this only one small book. Because one small book, one small book can make somebody pure devotee. This pure devotee can convert all the universe, devotional service. And like you mentioned, preaching is easy, we must show our happiness, yeah? And I heard one example, this swimming on the boat, yeah? And around this ocean, people
Drowning.
We have a lot эти круги для спасения.
Saving.
Yeah. And what we're doing, we just share this
Saving rings.
Yeah, saving rings. This very happy activities actually. But you know, like Bhakti Ananda Tirtha Maharaj gave example about priest, another priest. They never give, they always take this habits, you know. And some priest was Tanu.
He was drawing.
And another person tried to save him. And give your hand. He didn't give him. And another person who knows this priest, tell him, take my hand. You know, in Kali Yuga, usually people misers, like not Brahmana, Kripana, and you must give something. But somebody really envious, you know. If like Chaitanya says, if you give good advice to some foolish person, you can angry, you know. Like yesterday, after Harinam, one person came to me. What are you doing here? Why? Because my English is not good. Please translate. He used some strange word for me. And you're doing something. He gave another word, unkindly. You're unkind. Why unkind? Why we are unkind? You disturb people. They have everything. We have Christians. We have Muslims. But why are you sharing this your books and chanting here? What are you doing? And I gave example. If I have medicine and somebody's sick, I must give this vaccine if a pandemic. Or now start to say I'm sick, yeah? You're very proud. No, if somebody really crazy, they don't understand I'm crazy. They thinking I'm okay. No chance, almost no chance to give up the sickness. Somebody understand I'm sick, I have a problem, maybe some chance. But somebody really sick, you know. We do something good for them, but they just angry. This is very rare because we can see everybody happy, you know. Some paint Muslim books, some Christian preacher, and a lot of people walking, no emotion. But after Harinam, a lot of emotion, everybody, Muslim, Christian, everybody. You can see influence. But somebody really sick, you know, this person was very angry. This endless. I usually endless to Krishna, you know, they didn't understand. It's understood. It's just endless to Krishna. If you try to do something with them, it's just angry. Sometimes. And this is a risk for a preacher. The Prabhupada said you must take risk. This is very pleasant for Krishna. Like we can get mercy. If you sit together in temple, nice atmosphere, warm, everybody respect, Prabhuji, and chanting, very sweet, no risk. If you go outside, this is risk. And Krishna very appreciates. Therefore he said, Начата с мамой, что хочу на говорить, вот это ничего, может быть, люди глубоко пишут. This except for Prabhupada, he was always engaged in preaching work, day and night, always.
Sorry, Maharaj, I wanted to address quickly, I forgot. I think what will help is Sachinandan Maharaj, he says ISA, intention, sincerity and attention. So before doing any service, we have one intention in mind, and sincerity means whenever the mind wanders, we bring it to that intention, and attention means we become attentive while doing the service. Maybe you can meditate on this.
Intention, sincerity
and attention. Isha, I guess.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anything else?
Good seva, Prabhupada gave us so much seva because we are not so attractive to the holy name. Because Yugadharma, we have to use the Yugadharma, and all the sevas really work not without the holy name. When we do seva, then it means we have to realize that our seva is really powerful and Krishna accepts the seva without the holy name. That's why it's important that we chant before, that we chant when we're doing the seva, and that we realize, okay, Krishna will only accept this because the holy name is there also. So this is important. So, and when we do a lot of seva, we cannot do a lot of seva when we not chant. We will do it, as you would say, automatically, like, okay, but it's not, Krishna will not accept this. Krishna will more accept this when we are aware of it. What is the Yugadharma? Use the Yugadharma for get empowered to do the seva nicely, and Krishna will accept this. So this is the main focus. And many sevas, what we are doing, the main realization is I can do nothing when I not chant in this time and before. Because when I not chant, then I will not continue the seva, and then give me not the full realization or the full happiness afterwards. So you can do it automatically, but you will not stay long. In the movement, you will not anything. That's why Prabhupada was saying that you have to chant constantly, everyone, always, 24 hours, at least, the mind always speaking. And when you do, and you realize this, then you will take certain service, but the main focus is not service, that we give them the holy name. Also service, different kinds of service. Main focus should be the holy name. So this is the Yoga Dharma focus. And because we're not so pure, that's why Prabhupada gave us so much service from the old way of Bhakti, so that the old traditions of like deity worship, that we understand, okay, it's a person. But the main person, to worship the person, is toward the now. So this is, I think, is very important. So this is because of the Yoga Dharma. So you say, okay, now I cook the whole day, but what is your cooking when you not realize the holy name, or you're cooking for the holy name, or you're cooking with the holy name? So, all the services, it's important. We get the power, the strength, and the happiness towards the holy name, and all other things what we are doing in our daily activities. When we not chant, it's useless. It's heavy to say, but it's like this. And that was also Ender's mood. So Ender was also chanting, and he did so much things throughout the day because he chants so many rounds. So, and then in the end, when he does many chanting and many sevas, then he did kirtan in the evening, when he was full charged, full battery was full. And then he gave it to us, and then it was full extended because he was full in fire.
Very important.
How many rounds he chant? 128 or something? And dress the deities and makes so many things, cooking, worship the Shilas, everything, and then at the end he made kirtan. Because when you sing kirtan, it's also important that you're pure. When you chant, wake up and chanting, and you cannot accept that people will join and feel this.
Yeah, that's very important.
It's very important that the singer have to be also pure. And they have to be chanting before some rounds at least. So purity. So purity you cannot extract wie sagt man, anziehen, kannst niemand attract, kannst du niemand anziehen. So this is one important. That's we learn in the temple and also from the books. But this is what I see not so many devotees are doing that. That's why we are not so attractive for the outside world.
I just flashed on quickly. I remember Radhant Maharaj mentioning this. Srila Prabhupada was in New Vrindavan, and he just shared before going, he shared, if you don't chant your rounds properly, one day will come when you see the deities and then you think, why did my spiritual master leave me with such a burden? If you don't chant, one day will come that you will think like this. So chanting. Thank you for sharing. Okay, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Gauradesh ki jai.